What if you were a university student working in an internet cafe, but every time and every day there is a hot lewd busty girl catching your attention? What would you do in that situation? Well, obviously that will never happen to you guys or me. However, we could always imagine. Well, there's no need to imagine. I have brought to you the exact thing I have described to you. Now let's see how our boy Izumi, which we refer to as our boy, reacts when put in such unfortunate situation. This story is about an internet cafe worker and a busty girl who likes to enjoy herself in the private rooms, and each time our boy gets to experience a new level of joy which he is oblivious to and finds too embarrassing every time they interact, and it is so unfair for the rest of us. When do we get to experience this kind of love in our life, boys? Truck-kun hit me already. Isekai me or something. Anyway, let's get straight into this story and enjoy. In the heart of a bustling town, amidst the ebb and flow of daily life, stood a quaint little internet cafe, a haven of odds and ends that seemed to hold a certain allure for its patrons. Among them, our protagonist, a diligent soul with a penchant for order, welcomed each customer with a practiced smile. His curiosity often piqued by the eclectic array of visitors that graced the threshold of his domain. Today was no exception. As the jingle of the door announced the arrival of yet another guest, he couldn't help but feel a familiar tug of intrigue. There she stood, a figure he had encountered before, her presence sparking a flicker of recognition in his mind. With a polite inquiry, he learned she intended to linger for a mere 90 minutes, a span of time that seemed both fleeting and significant. Handing her the requisite token of entry, he watched as she made her way into the depths of the store, disappearing amidst shelves laden with treasures and trinkets. With a sigh, he turned his attention to the task at hand, the cluttered cubicles beckoning to be tamed by his diligent hand. As he delved into his cleaning duties, a surge of energy coursed through him, fueled by the satisfaction of restoring order to chaos. Yet, amidst his fervor, a nagging doubt gnawed at his mind. What if the next cubicle harbored a similar disarray? The mere thought sent a shiver down his spine, a premonition of impending dismay. Then, in a moment of clarity, his gaze fell upon a sight that sent his heart racing. There she was again, the girl from before, engaged in an act that defied explanation. Panic seized him, a whirlwind of confusion and disbelief threatening to overwhelm his senses. With trembling limbs, he fled to the safety of the front desk, seeking refuge from the storm brewing within. A concerned colleague inquired about his distress, but he could only muster a feeble denial, his mind reeling from the surreal spectacle unfolding before him. As the girl approached, punctuating the tense silence with her presence, he braced himself for the inevitable confrontation. Summoning every ounce of composure, he greeted her with a forced smile, masking his inner turmoil beneath a veneer of professionalism. "You're still within the time limit," he managed to utter, the words tasting bitter on his tongue. With a polite nod, she acknowledged his words, her smile enigmatic yet disarming in its simplicity. As she departed, leaving him to ponder the strange turn of events, he sank into his chair, exhaustion and bewilderment weighing heavy upon his shoulders. In the stillness of the store, he couldn't help but reflect upon the chaos that lurked beneath the veneer of normalcy, a reminder that even the most innocuous of places held secrets best left undisturbed. Amidst the rhythmic hum of the bustling cafe, our protagonist, ever the diligent host, maneuvered through the maze of tables, deftly balancing trays laden with steaming beverages. His eyes, keen and observant, scanned the incoming patrons, each arrival sparking a flicker of curiosity within him. Then, she walked in. A figure he had encountered before, her presence eliciting a sense of intrigue tinged with apprehension. As she deposited her umbrella among the others and ventured further into the cozy interior, he couldn't shake the feeling that her presence signaled an impending disruption to the ordinary flow of his day. It was then that he noticed it, a subtle anomaly that sent a ripple of unease through his mind. Her skirt, ensnared by the strap of her bag, fluttered open, revealing a glimpse of what lay beneath. Lucky bastard, anyways. A fleeting moment of disbelief swept over him. Could it be that she had been walking around thus exposed, completely unaware of her predicament? As she approached, her request for the customary 90-minute session barely registering amidst the chaos of his thoughts, he couldn't help but feel a pang of concern. With the cafe relatively quiet today, he had hoped she would proceed directly to her private room, shielded from prying eyes. Yet, fate had other plans. To his dismay, she paused, drawn to the array of books on display, oblivious to the potential hazard her open bag posed. Panic surged within him, a flush of embarrassment staining his cheeks as he contemplated the delicate task of addressing the situation. Summoning his courage, he leaned in, his voice barely above a whisper as he sought to spare her the indignity of public scrutiny. "Excuse me, miss," he murmured, his words tinged with a hint of trepidation. Her attention captured, she turned to face him, her gaze inquisitive yet unassuming. His heart raced, the weight of impending embarrassment bearing down upon him as he struggled to articulate his concern. "Your bag. It's open," he managed to stutter, his words a feeble attempt to divert attention from the delicate matter at hand. A flicker of realization crossed her features, followed by a sheepish acknowledgement of the faulty closure. Relief washed over him, a silent prayer of gratitude offered to whatever divine force had spared them both from further embarrassment. But fate, it seemed, had a sense of irony. As she took a step closer, her voice soft and tinged with amusement, she pointed out his own sartorial mishap. His apron, worn inside out, a testament to his own distraction amidst the chaos. With a sheepish grin, he corrected his oversight, a blush of embarrassment coloring his cheeks as he marveled at the serendipitous exchange that had unfolded between them. In that moment, amidst the whirlwind of their shared embarrassment, he couldn't help but feel a twinge of admiration for the enigmatic stranger who had unwittingly turned his world upside down. On a typical day, our boy found himself once again in the familiar haven of comics and books. As he browsed the shelves, he couldn't help but notice the regular girl perusing the aisles. She seemed lost in the sea of titles, her brow furrowed in concentration. He couldn't shake the feeling that she was searching for something specific, her determination palpable as she scanned the library of graphic novels. Then, in a sudden flash, his mind involuntarily recalled an awkward encounter from before. He'd caught her in a compromising position once, and though he desperately tried to banish the memory, it stubbornly lingered, replaying like a broken record. "Don't remember it, don't you dare remember that," he mentally scolded himself. But amidst his internal struggle, a sense of chivalry stirred within him. He believed he should approach her, offer assistance, maybe strike up a conversation. Summoning his courage, he walked over and casually inquired, "Looking for something in particular?" She confessed to the conundrum of forgetting the title of a manga she desired to read. Our boy empathized, knowing all too well the frustration of a lost book title. "What kind of manga was it?" he asked, genuinely interested. "Probably a shonen manga," she replied, her eyes alight with anticipation. With a vivid description, she attempted to paint a picture of the elusive manga, but our boy found himself still puzzled. Then, like a beacon of hope, she produced a sketch of the main character. Despite his best efforts, he remained stumped. Yet, he couldn't deny the charm in her drawing and handwriting, finding them oddly endearing. Determined to assist her, he delved deeper into his mental archives, racking his brain for any clue that might lead to the manga's identity. Just a little more thought, he assured himself, and he might crack the code. Suddenly, her attention diverted to the keychain dangling from his name tag. Recognition sparked in her eyes as she made a connection. The cat keychain was a character in the manga she sought. Before he could even process her revelation, she bent down to get a closer look, inadvertently finding herself in a rather compromising position. Her embarrassment was palpable as she quickly retreated, apologizing profusely. Our boy, ever the lucky bastard, good-naturedly, he assuring her it was all right. With a newfound camaraderie and embarrassment, he guided her to the coveted manga. As they parted ways, both couldn't shake the desire to delve deeper into their shared passion. They each longed for a chance to discuss the manga in greater detail, realizing they had more in common than they initially thought. And so, with the promise of future conversations lingering in the air, they went their separate ways, their hearts aflutter with excitement. On a tranquil afternoon, sunlight streamed into the room, casting a warm glow over everything. The air was filled with the soft melody of music emanating from an old-fashioned music box, adding to the serene atmosphere. Our protagonist, simply referred to as the boy, was engrossed in tidying up the space. As he worked, he couldn't help but notice another presence in the room, a female figure whose presence seemed to imbue the atmosphere with a sense of tension. She had been there since the morning, and her presence seemed to bring an unexpected shift in the ambiance. transforming the calm morning into something reminiscent of a late-night vibe. Intrigued, the boy found himself drawn to the private room next to hers, curious about the source of the lewd noises that occasionally punctuated the otherwise peaceful scene. Upon entering, he was met with chaos, a cluttered room with items strewn about haphazardly. The task of cleaning it up seemed daunting, but before he could even begin, the lewd noises abruptly ceased, leaving an uneasy silence in their wake. As he turned to leave, he was startled by the sound of the door opening, revealing the source of the disturbance, the girl. Their eyes met, both adorned with a flush of embarrassment at the awkward encounter. In the midst of the awkward silence, the broom, which had been precariously balanced between them, tumbled onto the girl's lap, evoking an unintended reaction. She let out a soft moan, caught off guard by the unexpected sensation, while the boy stumbled over himself in a flurry of apologies, fearing he had inadvertently startled her. Amidst the apologies and exchanged glances, the boy couldn't help but notice the slight dampness of the girl's hand as she returned the broom to him. His cheeks flushed crimson with embarrassment at the unintended contact. However, before he could dwell on it further, she explained that her fingers were still numb from her gaming session, dispelling any misconceptions he might have had about the source of her discomfort. Embarrassed by his misunderstanding, the boy stammered out his apologies once more, assuring her that it was all his fault. In response, the girl reassured him that there was no need to apologize, graciously accepting his apology with a smile. As they stood there in the aftermath of the awkward encounter, a sense of understanding and camaraderie began to form between them, bridging the gap created by their initial embarrassment. I hope you all enjoyed this new story, and let me know if you want more by commenting, liking and sharing. Also, if you want to experience such things in your life, you must make sure to subscribe to my channel. Otherwise, no cute girls will be interacting with you like they are with our boy, Izumi, that lucky bastard. Anyway, till next time, peace.